Good day, honourable members, the department, our support staff. Greetings to all of you. I'm welcoming you in this meeting of the Portfolio Committee. I'm glad we had the time to meet. Let us go to item number 2, my sister, which is apologies. There's any apologies?
Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members, the MEC and the HOD, as well as the colleagues. Only one apology that was received from Mr. Hlongwa, Wanda Hlongwa. Thanks.
Thank you. There's any apology from the department?
Greetings, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable MEC and Honorable members. None will follow.
I just forgot to greet you, MEC and acting HOD and the management. Mr. Nzale, do we constitute?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to you. Good morning to honorable members. Good morning to Honorable MEC, colleagues from the legislature and colleagues from the department. Our meeting does correct. Currently, we've got 9 members currently present and 1 member in the visual platform. So our meeting is properly constituted, Honorable Chairperson and members. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Nzale, who is our legal advisor. Let us go to item number 4, adoption of the agenda. Honorable Mloyi.
Thank you, Chair. If I have omitted it, I must forward apology before I say it. The matters arising from the previous minutes, I have not seen the minutes. I may have omitted it. If I can be directed to it, then I will appreciate. But nevertheless, I wanted to move for the adoption of the agenda. With that question, if it's clarified, then I'm fine.
Thank you very much. The matters of arising from the previous meeting. Where's that those minutes? No, but when there's no minutes, how can you raise those, what to call? No, so I think we'll sort that out. I think we're not going to have this item because you don't have the minutes. So you can't raise the matters of the previous meeting where we don't have the minutes. So because we can't just recall what there are a lot of things that we're dealing with. So before we need to have minutes, so that we're going to go through if there are matters that we need to raise, but we must get the minutes for those previous meetings. So thank you. And second of adoption of the agenda, Honorable Gasa, Honorable Nzama.
Thank you, Chair. I second.
I think thanks very much. So the agenda is adopted. You know, in Zulu, there's something called memeza when you put water in the bucket and you put Timothy there, and then you call somebody's name. So I think Honorable Gasa, that's what he's doing to me because. So thanks very much, honorable members. So the agenda has been adopted. So we will therefore request the MEC to give us his remarks.
Thank you so much, Honourable Chairperson, honourable members, to the team from Public Works and Infrastructure. Just on that as well, Chair, let me just say it's not an apology, but normally I'm accompanied by the Parliamentary Liaison Officer, Mr. Thando Dlamini. He's becoming a father any day now, so he's on paternity leave. So I'm with the head of ministry, Mr. Hlanganani Gumbi, who knows these halls very well, as he served here before. And then also just to welcome Mr. Buthelezi, who is acting CFO as of Monday, if I'm not mistaken, of the department. Chairperson, let me first start by a word of thanks for agreeing to move the meeting last time, because we were in Johannesburg meeting with the cabinet of Gauteng. I know it messes with all your plans when we ask you to move a meeting, and we are supposed to fit in with your schedule, not you with us. So we are very appreciative that you were understanding of that. Let me also just mention the importance of the work this committee does, Chairperson. The democratic system we function on comes from centuries of refinement from various different systems and works on a delicate system of checks and balances. Even if you look at outside of the Westminster system that we inherit a lot from, even His Majesty the King can't be everywhere and have eyes everywhere, and that's why we have a system of Amakosi and Isiduna to make sure the King has eyes and ears and feedback from everywhere, and that's the same with our system that we work in. So I do not view this committee as a nuisance. I do not view the members of this committee as my opponents, but I view these, all of you, as partners on our road to build a better department. So the oversight visit to Nkunyeni Hospital, we welcome the report that this committee gave, because that allowed us to improve where we did not do our job properly. So we want to thank the members of this committee for going there, for going to the wash bay that you wrote to us about, Chairperson, because that allows us to also know where there's mistakes, because we are fallible, we are human, we do make mistakes as a department, and we count on this on this committee to raise these issues so that we can fix it. So we have a full report on the hospital. We've put measures based on what the committee told us. And I'm very confident, I won't speak on it now because there's a report on it, but I'm confident that when the HOD reports on it, that the committee will be satisfied with our progress. And we take full responsibility for the mistakes that happened on that project, because it's up to us. So I just want to give that word of thanks as well, appreciation to the committee, because you do your jobs, I can do mine. And that's how the system works. There's a few matters that I know from previous meetings that's important to the committee that I just want to touch on in my opening remarks, Honourable Chairperson. First of all, since our last meeting, the former HOD, Mr. Majola, has informed the Premier and myself of his intention to resign, and this came into effect on the 20th of September of 2025. His resignation happened whilst the disciplinary process was still in progress and was actually concluding at that stage. That, of course, immediately ends the disciplinary process once he's no longer official of government. There are, however, criminal investigations, and those are continuing. So the criminal investigations are totally separate, and SAPS and Hawks are continuing with their investigations into the matter of Mr. Majola. I can also confirm that there was no deal with Mr. Majola. So there was no payout to him beyond what is due to him from his pension. So there was no negotiations and any payment made to him for his resignation. The department has now stabilized when it comes to disciplinary matters. We have very few active investigations actually ongoing. We also try as far as possible to limit suspensions without pay. So where it is not necessary, so a person can't interfere with investigation, we don't do so. And in some cases, we look to temporarily move an official to another department, so that because we believe it is very wrong for people to sit at home and the taxpayer pay their salary. So we try everything in our power to limit that, and I think we've been very effective with that so far. Another important matter that has been raised in this committee before, that we have some positive feedback, Mr. Chairperson, is that on the 17th of October, that is next week, we will officially hand over to the contractor the legislative administrative building so that the work can start on fixing that building. As you all know, that building was seriously damaged in the storm earlier this year. Unfortunately, because government buildings aren't insured. So we can't claim from insurance when the building is damaged. So we had to really go and work hard, and all thanks goes to the team on my right-hand side that worked very hard, and to other departments who we approached and said, please, you're going to all have to help us with this one because we just do not have the money to fix it ourselves. And we are handing over to the contractor on the 17th, the Honourable Premier will be there on the 17th to hand over to the Premier, because this is a very important building for us as a provincial government, of course. And we will keep this committee up to date with the progress on the repairs to the building there. This is, of course, now just the administrative block. Financially, Chairperson, the department is in a much better space. We are now fully on track with our contractor payments, and we have seen a vast improvement here. And the department is extremely proud of the fact that from where people have to wait 5 years for payments, we know within the 30-day period. There is, of course, a few hiccups here and there. No system is perfect, but we are very confident that we are now able to do what our responsibility is. We had to fight our sister departments for the money because the money doesn't come directly to us, but all sister departments are now on board, and we're getting a lot of support from the Treasury and Indus. So while the department is not financially, I wouldn't say we're healthy. We're not a fighting fit department yet when it comes to finances. We have shown a huge improvement, and we are very stable now, and the finances stability is important. One of our challenges, and I'll be very open with this committee, Chairperson, one of our challenges is that frontline departments like education and health has needed financial assistance a couple of times now during this financial year. That money has to come from somewhere. So unfortunately, Treasury has had to make cuts to other departments, including ours. So there were two instances where we had to take money out of our budget and give to Treasury to give to either health or education department. So just as we move up in our finances, we get this little dip where we have to give money to the other departments. So it is a struggle. We do understand that, education must function, health department must function, so we do understand that. But it is something also we would like this committee to also raise with your engagement with other parts of government, that they can't keep taking from public works, because I'm not a creature with unlimited money. I also have very limited money, and every time they take from us, it harms the work that public works does. So I'll be very open with you that we have had to do 2 payments. I know the one about health will come to the next, because it has to be approved by the legislator. So that the health one will come to the next legislature sitting, if I'm not mistaken. But the education one has already been done. I can also report, Chairperson, that we've had a very successful strategic planning session for the department just this very week on Wednesday and Thursday. And I can tell you this, Chairperson, we don't go to Simbali or the Drakensberg for our strat plan sessions. We did it in our own building at very low cost. And I must thank HOD and Ms. Khan from the governance unit that really had an excellent strat plan. It wasn't a talk shop. We walk away there with real measurable plans on what we're going to do in the next year to improve this department and make everybody proud of the work that we're doing. Other important developments that I need to inform the committee of, Chairperson, is that the digitalization process is going extremely well. E-leave and e-submissions will go live before the end of this year, which will greatly improve the way this government works. Leave still works with a paper system, and if someone's in Lundi, wherever, it's a very slow process, and a lot of bad things happen then. So e-leave and e-submissions will hugely improve the way this department functions. Also, the service request forms will go digital to all our sub-departments, and we're very excited to see what's going to come out of that. Another milestone is, and I'm quite proud of this because it is something I'm very passionate about, Chairperson, that within the next few weeks, advertisements will go out for artisans positions. So that would be plumbers, electricians, and carpenters and painters. Because it's very important for us that we need to go back to what our core mandate is as a department, which is maintenance. It's a very important part. And we've not been doing our maintenance properly because we had to tender out a lot of the work at very high cost. I know there's some political parties here that loves insourcing, so I'm sure they'll love to hear that we are going to insource this work as much as we can. I also agree with that when it comes to artisans, that we are supposed to have those people in-house. So we'll be not by the numbers I would like to see it yet, because obviously budgetary constraints is something we have to consider. But we are now working, it's a priority. The department is aware that it's one of my priorities, and we will be advertising for the first time in quite a while that we'll actually be doing a new intake of artisans within the department. And I'm sure that the committee will agree that's a step in the right direction. Lastly, Chairperson, I just need to give the committee a heads up, as we're going to send a lot of work your way very soon, or in the next year. KwaZulu-Natal is one of only 2 provinces that has its own Immovable Asset Management Act, called the KwaZulu-Natal Land Administration and Movable Asset Management Act number 2 of 2014, and which is in line with GIAMA and all national acts. Now, this act includes a section on land expropriation. And as you know, the National Parliament has changed the legislation of land expropriation. So our act now has to come in line with the National Act, because a provincial act cannot be in variance to a national act. So we have to now review our act, see what changes needs to be done to put it in line with the changes to the National Act. But we've decided that since this act is 10 years old, and a lot has happened in 10 years, we're reviewing the whole act and see what improvements can be made on the act. That act, and obviously we can't do that without the help of the committee. The committee will assist us in this whole process, give their inputs, and it will be for this committee then to take it to the public for public input. We are very early in this process, so we're now sitting with the legal teams and all the smart people who help us with drawing it up in the right way. But I thought it's important for us just to give the committee that head up that is coming. So I think if the committee members can study up that act and start reading the act and see what the act is about, it will be very helpful and streamline the process. Chairperson, I know you have a very full schedule, so I don't want to keep you too long. Let me end off by saying that I said this to the team yesterday at the closing of the Strat plan session, that from where Public Works was a year and a half ago and to where we are now, we've made really good progress. It wasn't a smooth ride. It is bumpy. We do get things wrong sometimes. And again, that's why we're dependent on the committee to assist us. We listen, we take criticism with an open heart, because at the end of the day, we're all here to do exactly the same thing, and that's to serve the people of KwaZulu-Natal. And with that, I hand back to you. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Honourable Mayor, our MSC, for your remarks and the information that you have given us. We appreciate a lot. I don't know, because when I look at the agenda, can I allow members just for a few minutes, 5 minutes, if they want to comment in the remarks of the HOD or the clarities that they want to check? The HOD. No.
I don't have the qualifications.
No, thanks. But we let us try to keep short so that we must to go through the agenda. Okay. Almost all members at that side. Let me start that side, and then we come through this. What you call it? So you'll take it. Note it down.
No, thanks. Greetings, Chair, honorable members, MEC, HOD, and the team. I think let's firstly thank the MEC about in a manner in which they've taken, especially criticism and contributions from the committee. I'll make an example with Nkonjeni Hospital, which was really a mess. It was a serious mess, and to where it is now. And if we continue in this fashion, we will fix a lot of things going forward. But number two is to say, MEC made a comment about stabilizing things, and I would say, we will need a very stable public works to fix a lot of things in the province. A lot of money is spent, especially on maintenance, which can better be utilized somewhere else. With the employment of artisans, I must say that is very good. We are very happy about that. As long as the department continues like this, I'm sure that all of us will push to make sure that we support the work that is being done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Morning, MEC and the team from the department. We really appreciate your report and we accept it, MEC. And I like your enthusiasm and your energy. However, the last time we gathered here, you spoke with confidence and the HOD that you have covered all the debts from the department, that people that you've owned. But surprisingly, when we did oversight in some areas where there were constructors, we were told that they are still owned by the department. Now, your confidence, young confused, is now confusing me whether you lie with confidence, MEC, or indeed it was a blind spot on your side. I do not know. But otherwise, we really appreciate what the department is trying to do because simbekile umkhwanas. Siyabonga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nzama.
Thank you, Chair. Greeting, Honorable MEC, HOD, the department, the staff. No, my one is almost the same like Honorable Kasa. MEC, you're telling us you're up to date with payment. You're paying the client or the contractors on time. I believe if you put the invoice support to be 30 days, but most of the place where we went to do the oversight, contractors are crying, delay of payment, and they're not finishing their job on time. And you're charging them peanuts. Like the Nkonjeni was like 17,000 a day to pay the peanuts. So I disagree with you, MEC, when you say you're up to date because people are still crying. Thank you.
Kabazela. Oh, you didn't raise your hand. Okay.
Greetings, Chair, officials, MEC. Honorable Chair, we received, let me say we note the report, the reports by MEC, but I'm sharing the same sentiments with my colleagues. I'm not too sure now what to believe from the MEC, because it's one of the department I was so proud of that they are working when it comes to reporting, when we're sitting like this. But when we go down, it's a mess. And I'm just wondering how many problems are there on the ground that we're unable to get there yet. Siyabonga ukuthi you respond once we identify those problems. Shoot manje, this department, it functions. We'll see the difference only if we tell you just go and check in that area because we went there. So I think somehow someone who's assisting with the reports, Honorable MEC, makes the report looks good, but doesn't speak to what is happening on the ground. We appreciate what we've seen and what you say. We don't know what is happening on the department. We don't know what is happening in other field. We rely on you. But where we have gone, we have not got what we get from you. So we are not 100% sure about the report we get from you. So can you please make sure that what you give us is what we'll get in the ground, because we will go in the ground. Thank you, Chair.
Mashe Mtungwa, Malloy.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to the MEC and HOD leading the team from the department. I've greeted the honorable members and our team from legislature. I want to appreciate the remarks by the MEC. We really have to applaud the department if they are going to start cleaning the legislature, as really it reflects badly to the department because it's responsible for the building, all the buildings of the government. So then it really making us to say at least we will see that because we'll go there afterwards. As we are saying 17, we may go there to go and check really it's starting, because that's what we are here. Oversight is about ensuring that the services are done. I think I will speak on the financials when we get there. I will reserve my taking what the MEC has said. But going to the issue, I can hear that MEC is crying that he's get cuts. It's a norm every year. So just gear up because education and health are priorities of this nation. We'll have to have an educated nation and a healthy nation. So whilst we are not downplaying the responsibility and the core functions of other departments, which means we must welcome with the pain that there will be cuts, because we would want to see that a priority being fulfilled. I want to ask Honorable MEC, why have you stopped to encourage department to use Mayville, even yourselves? Because that is your structure that you build there. It's a conference structure where you can have fun. But I know sometimes you don't have electricity. Sometimes your generator, whatever, and what not. But I think that was going to assist you, because the money that you spend outside would have been spent in supporting your department when they do their strategic planning, they do the please them relook at that and revise it, because it used to be like that. There was a premier that was not taking that very lightly, which is Premium Mchunu, and all of the work was done there with all the departments, so that we reduce the cost, but also to support the department in doing its core work. We'll await the time that you'll give us on the reviewal of the Act of 2014. But I would appreciate that if it can be sent to us so that we look at it, and then when you bring the comment, we are averse of what is it that is in that Act. Lastly, we will really welcome that the MEC is saying is going to appoint apprentices. So we really appreciate that. And honestly, when you go around and see departments building, you feel like crying. And you look at the investment that has been put in those buildings, and when they are not maintained and they get dilapidated, and you just look at the government, what kind of a government is this? So if that is going to be corrected, including even using the EPWPs, and I think I have an experience of using EPWPs in cleaning some of the buildings, not because you were abusing them, but you redirect instead of not spending the grant fully and getting people in time, having not utilized them. Not that you only utilize this one, but we appreciate that it's going to bring new jobs within the province of having this being employed for this, for that. But also the APWP, if you can also focus on that and relook at how can we best utilize them, not abusing them, but utilizing them so that we push back the backlog that we have on those unclean properties of the government. That is my comment. I want to welcome and thank you for that and taking us into confidence on these matters. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Collins.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the MEC, the acting HOD, and the team from the legislature. I'm not going to bring up things that have already been brought up by other honourable members. Just my one inquiry is with regards to the advertising for the artisans, which obviously the previous speaker has alluded to, and we really do welcome it. I'm just wanting to find out where that's going to fall under, because on the financials we have seen that there is vacancies that are going to be filled that haven't been filled, and that's why there's been some, I think, under expenditure on that. So I'm just wondering where this is going to be falling under. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honourable Prakash.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to the MEC and honourable members. I just want to share the same sentiments, positive sentiments shared this far. I'd like to commend the MEC and the entire team for the progress in completing key infrastructure projects. despite the financial constraints. Thank you, Chair.
No, thanks very much, honourable members, for your comments and your. I think I also like to express myself on the MSA remarks. I also commend the department for the progress so far. Yes, it is not yet 100%, but honestly, we can see the changes. The issue of payment for the contractors was behind for many years, but now most of the contractors have been paid. Yes, it is true that there are some invoices which were not paid. And we appreciated the MSCO your decisiveness, because if you are the leader, you must have decisive, you must be able to take decisions and not afraid to do so. Because some of the delays, MSC, because what was on the ground in Nshoti of payments of the contracts are done deliberately because of you put an invoice and they said no, I'm not going to pay it until you come to me, and because people, they want money. So we are aware of those things, and we need to deal with that, because once a contractor doesn't get paid, it really we give them difficult to continue to look. But we also appreciate, to get after so long qualified outcomes. That shows the improvement of the department. So thank you very much, Mr. For that. You may respond.
Much, Chairperson, and thank you to all the members for those comments. I'm gonna leave the one regarding the contractors to last. I'll answer the others first. And thank you for the positive feedback. No criticism needs to be negative and positive, and I appreciate. It's sometimes we forget that good things also happen. So I really do appreciate it. To Honourable Collie, there's 24 million rand of savings that we're now using for the artisans. So it will be coming out of the compensation of employees. With our other vacant positions, especially on our more senior levels, due to the financial constraints of the government, the process of getting those vacancies filled is much more difficult. So we first have to write to the MEC of Finance to motivate for filling a position, even something as logical as the director of legal. Now, we need a director of legal, but we have to motivate first, and then they send you things back. Then you have to send it again. Once the MEC of Finance has approved it, then it goes to OTP. Then the Premier has to approve it. And only once the Premier has approved it can we then advertise the startup processes. So filling senior positions has become a painful process, but a necessary. We do understand, as the Honourable Malloy said, sometimes you have to take the pain to get to the good parts. And on that point, Honourable Malloy, we do utilise Mayville fully, OTP especially. Actually, the rest of us fight with OTP because they currently, they're there today again. So Premier Ntuli is very committed to Mayville, and he uses it a lot. Our strat plan was also there on Wednesday and Thursday. When we as a department cannot use Archie Gumede because someone else is using it, we use the Sharks board, which is also our building, so we don't pay for that one either. So we do everything in our power to limit cost. But I will be honest with you, Honourable Malloy, we face a bit of a problem with Mayville Conference Centre. And I know the CFOs are always complaining about this, because the cost of running it, the cost of the electricity, the water, the toilet paper comes out of our budget. The departments don't pay us for it. So them using it is great. It saves government money, but someone still has to pay. Nothing is for free. Someone has to pay for everything. So we are busy sitting with OTP to see if the department at least just can pay us for what they're using. So if they can pay us for the toilet paper and the water and the light. So it's still much cheaper than you'd pay for the ICC or one of those. But we're busy discussing that with all departments to see what model can we use, because currently it comes out of our budget, and if it's used every day, then the waters are running, the lights are on, and that becomes quite a high cost. So we just need to balance out how can we do it. We're also looking if when it is empty, can we get rental? Can we get private sector to use it when we're not using it as government? So we're looking at various different models, including triple Ps, to see what can be done. And your remarks on EPWP and using them in maintenance is absolutely true, and it is something we're looking at as well. With maintenance workers, I had an idea. I had to be schooled by the department because I'm concerned that schools don't clean their gutters, and then that's when the storms come, schools get damaged. So I wanted to see if we can use the EPWP, but then they have to be specially trained to climb on a roof and all of that. So it's not as easy as I thought it would be. Sometimes even MECs learn lessons, but that I agree with you. We need to see how we can empower our EPWP to also then do those functions for us as a department. Let me then get to the very valid concerns regarding payments of contractors. And I'm very glad that the members raised this. And when the chairperson wrote to me about that oversight you did and what the contractor said, I immediately asked for a full report on that payment. Now, honourable members, I can assure you we don't lie. And you can double check me. You can catch me in a lie very easily because this is a live computer system. You can call the Treasury now to appear before you. You can ask Treasury to put it on that screen, and the screen will tell you exactly which contractors are paid and which have unpaid loaded invoices. Now, this is a very important point. We can only pay anything that's on the system. Something's not on the system, I can't pay. So that contractor, his invoices wasn't on the system. He's paid now. I can tell you that. He is paid now. But his invoices wasn't on the system. So we can't pay you if the invoice is not on the system. Why the invoice was not on the system, that's a matter that I will leave to the HOD and his finance team to discuss because it is part of the report, because those are valid questions and I'm glad you're raising it. And if you're right, if it happens there, where else is it happening? So we need to look at it. So this is part of why we're digitalizing the department, because the invoice system also needs improvement. But I want to guarantee you that if I tell this committee that everything's paid, it's because I can look on the screen and that screen will tell me everything is paid. And if I lie to committee, remember, you must charge me for ethics. So please do so if I do lie. But I hope to avoid that because I try not to be a person that lies. So on the contractors, and also what I found is a contractor will email me and say, I haven't been paid. And I'll look and say, yeah, hasn't been paid in 25 days. The regulation says 30 days. So it's also sometimes, contractors also sometimes take a bit of a chance, but we've also not 100% got it right. But with this specific case, I'll allow the HOD and the acting CFO, the acting HOD and the acting CFO, when they give their report backs on the finances, to speak specifically on that. But that is my understanding, is that it wasn't on the system. We couldn't pay it because it wasn't uploaded on the system. Now, the chairperson raises something very important, that sometimes our officials are the ones that don't load it for what other reason. And we know that's happened in the past, and that might still be happening. I can't deny that, chairperson. In our strive to be a clean, corruption-free department, we are picking these things up. But that specific matter is actually a focus of a big internal investigation. And you would have seen in the media that we've actually identified that we currently have 75 stalled projects. 75, am I correct? Yeah. 75 projects that are stalled within the department. So they're standing still for whatever reason. We have now prioritized that. The rapid response team is meeting regularly again. And one of the things we're investigating for why those are stalled is exactly what the chairperson has raised here. We suspect maybe that has happened in some of these cases. So we are investigating it and looking into that. On the stalled, there was one more thing on the stalled one that I want to raise, chairperson. The penalties. Thank you, HOD. So penalties is unfortunately the law. And I have to enforce the law. But in cases where it's our fault, we then do, I think we have to write to the Treasury, if I'm not mistaken. Write to us. Yeah, okay. So we do in cases where it's our fault. So let's say a contractor wasn't paid. Now, it's not fair to penalize a contractor because we didn't pay them. That's not justice. So then in those cases, we do waiver the penalties. But in other cases, we just can't, because the law says I must institute penalties. And the penalties do play an important role, because as much as we take the blame when it's our fault, the contractors are also sometimes at fault, which is why we're blacklisting bad contractors. But with that, Chairperson, the flesh of it, the CFO and the HOD will deal with when I get to the financial reports. Thank you.
We go to the new matters now. Let us just finish here. I know some of the things in your remarks we've covered, especially the update on the HOD. We've covered that, except that you gave us after the Majora resigned, what the process, what next, and then secondly, there was here in the agenda 6.1 matters of comprehensive report on vacant posts required for acting. I think you can also cover that, and then we start with the new matters just shortly.
Thank you, Chairperson. Sorry, you are absolutely right. I do apologize. The post for HOD was advertised. I remind the committee that that HODs are appointed by the Premier, by the MEC, and the process of appointing HOD is run by OTP, not by the department. But the post was advertised. The advertisement closed last Friday. I have not yet received a report how many people have applied or anything like that. I did get a confirmation from the acting DG that they're now going through the vetting of those applications, and that the Premier is in the process of appointing a panel. Once that panel is appointed, then the process will continue from there. We are confident that hopefully holding thumbs December, but more realistically by 1st of January, a permanent HOD would be in position. So currently, Chairperson, we have 11 acting positions within the department, which is too much. It's way too much. Sometimes I don't know if I'm in Hollywood or Durban, but we are working very, very hard on it. So I don't know if you want me to run through which are the acting positions, if I must read through it, Chairperson. All right. So acting currently is the head of department, which is Dr. Govender. Yeah, we have the Deputy Director General of IMTS, which is Mr. Nkunu. We have the Chief Director Immovable Asset Management, which has been handled by Ms. Ntanzi. The acting CFO, which I introduced earlier, which is Mr. Buthelezi. Acting Chief Director of Infrastructure Program Coordinator, which is Mr. Naika. Acting Chief Director of EPWP, which is Ms. Ngaba. And let me just on this one quickly pause. The reason for this one is Mr. Dlamini, who is actually still the director of EPWP. We received a request from COCTA that he goes to COCTA for 6 months to assist them with infrastructure issues with municipalities. So we seconded him to the Department of COCTA, and that's why we have someone acting. So it's not a disciplinary or anything like that. So he's still in his position. It's purely we just seconded him on COCTA's request because helping municipalities are very important to us. Deputy Director Acquisitions, which is Sahib. Deputy Director for Provincial Information, Mantambo. Director Supply Chain Management, that post has been advertised, if I'm not mistaken. That's Dr. Mbili. I see it's Mr. here. That just needs to be corrected. Dr. Mbili. We currently have acting director in the Midlands region. That's Ladysmith, Newcastle. That's the Midlands region, which is Mr. Davids. And then the director in the office of the HOD is currently the acting deputy director. Oh, sorry, is Mr. Genge. Ami was sitting here because Mr. Skumbuso is seconded to the Department of Health at this moment. And then I can also say we did look at the qualifications as per the department's request or the committee's request. And how many HOD has got master's degrees? 7 of yours. So 7 of our senior managers actually have master's degrees, which is higher than the requirement. So we are confident that everybody meets the requirements as per the DPSA.
No, thanks very much. Look on. It's got 2 minutes maximum.
Sihlalo siyabonga, but I can see that we are sneaking issues to the MEC. The MEC was doing the remarks, and these are items that were supposed to be presented to us. My worry is that if we do that in the future, it will cause us a problem. It's a matter of procedure, not that I'm raising that the MEC is not telling us what is right, but as a matter of procedure so that we engage on the matters.
honourable member, it was because of I tried to cover, because when he was doing remarks, some of the things here, but we are noted. Thanks. Let us go to new items of the departments. Yes, ma'am.
By MEC right now, I think we should be given a time to deliberate on it. I don't know if I'm wrong. Thanks, Chair. No, it's a president who said on the remarks. I thought we're discussing now after item. Thanks.
Right. Quarter one reports on the non-financials and financials.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to the honorable members. Allow me to stand on the protocol that is already being observed. Let me take a page out of the MEC's remarks and say, Honorable Chair, that as the accounting officer for the department, I must admit that accountability and oversight is sacrosanct within the public sphere, and it's actually the cornerstone of effective and efficient service delivery. I did listen to the honorable member make a remark or provide an input that this department will provide information that would look good on paper, but when you go down to the ground, it's actually catastrophic. I want to again reiterate what the MEC said, that we are fully transparent department. Whatever we would put here, Honorable Chair and honorable members, is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. If you had to ask me to raise my right hand or left hand and take the oath, I can do that as well. So again, if you hold the MEC accountable in terms of an ethical breach, I also pledge that same can be effected to me. And the good thing is, the Honorable MEC can dismiss me in a blink of an eye. Having said that, Honorable Chair, the quarterly performance report for the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is as follows. Let me take this committee as well into confidence to say that this department, and it's not that I'm giving this preamble, Honorable Chair, because I want to provide reasons for us not having 100% achievement, because in essence, one should be at 100%. But this department, and it must be noted, and we will say it at every committee sitting as well, and at the finance portfolio as well, that we highly dependent on funds that are placed within other departments. So if the funds were given to Public Works directly, then we will definitely see different figures. But let me start off by saying as well, we have 29 targets on the annual performance report. And out of that, for quarter one, we've achieved 10 targets. We've overachieved on 3 targets, and we did not achieve on 4 of them. Now, the 4 is bringing us down in terms of the percentage, but I'm going to go through those that we did not achieve. Those that we've achieved and overachieved, I don't think it requires any input, but if you want me to take you through it, I can. But those that we didn't achieve should be actually matters that I should ventilate here, and I should be held accountable in the presence of my boss. The first one being the percentage of audit action plans implemented within a specific time frame, and that's on slide 3. If you look at it, the target is 100%, and this department achieved 64% of those targets. Now, the findings were that 17 were implemented, 11 in quarter one, and 17 were supposed to be implemented, 11 were implemented in quarter one. And you must know quarter one is July, August, September. So the AG report concludes around April. So yeah, around March, April, and we're looking at post that day. We're sitting with just 3-4 months into the 3-4 months to achieve these targets. Now, the problem you have Bulk of the findings, and quite correctly so as well, I won't dispute it from the Auditor General because it's factual findings based on science, where with regards to project management of infrastructure projects. Now, bulk of these required action plans that needed to be deliberated upon and agreed upon, and most of them were pertaining to standard operating procedures where the department was falling short. But I want to say to this August House, Honorable Chair, that, and I don't know why MEC May is shy on that we've inherited a department that was broken into 1 trillion pieces. Wrought with corruption, alleged corruption, wrought with maladministration, corruption, and all those things. So when we went out, we had to focus on what is our most important task, and that was the financial stability of this department. It is only now that we are now looking at other issues, if you rank them from 1 to 10, which are sitting from 5 and below. So these, I'm happy to note that we've pushed to the 30th of December, and we will be 100% achieved because it will be implemented. What we've done is as well to hold everyone accountable is that we've signed an action plan as to how these findings will be resolved, and it has been reported at my office and handled directly by the office of the HOD. Similarly, 1.3 is the same matter, and again it has the same issue with regard to the 30-day payments, whereby I can honestly say to this committee that the IN34 is an electronic document that is printed by Treasury. The MEC got no control over the statistics that come out post that report. It's like a calculator. It has an input and an output. No matter what you do, you don't have access to that system because it comes out in the end. It's like your bank statement. If you have a debit on it, it will show a debit. If you have a credit, it will show it. So it's actually a document that you can take to court. On the issue around the 30-day payments of invoices as well, there was a disagreement with the Auditor General. It shouldn't have been a finding. The management of funds for the province of KZN in terms of Section 18 of the Public Finance Management Act vests with the Provincial Treasury. The finding should have been sitting with them. However, public works are not innocent as well. The Honorable MEC gave me a clarion call to say, Dr. Vish, you will go and look at this, but to a point where if we're wrong and if we're not 100% correct, you would stand down. Indeed, I did that, and we found that there were certain invoices that we didn't capture. But I want to say to this August House Chair that these invoices that were not captured were mainly around rates and subsidies, which is the payment of property rates. If you look at Section 39.2 of the PFMA, we're projecting an over expenditure of 874 million. I don't need to bang on that point or amplify it anymore. We get a bottom line allocation of just over 900 million. Now it's 1.26 billion. We're sitting with rates payments over 1.734 billion. So straight away you're off the target. It won't work. We then had to employ strategies. I'm discussing the APP. I won't get into that, Chair, but I'm saying these findings that are here are not solely the fault of this team that I lead here on a daily basis as well. In respect of 1.5, the issue around non-achievement of the 2% within the budget variation is again a direct response to the fact that this department doesn't get the adequate budget. When you close a financial year, and we're appearing before the Standing Portfolio for Finance next week, we close every year public works with a deficit of 474 million, accrual/deficit. It is now that we've made the Standing Portfolio, after decades of being in operation, aware that this is actually not an accrual. This is actually contravention of Section 39.2, not by Public Works, by the powers that should be giving us the adequate budget. Now, I want to go back to what the Honorable MEC said, that it's important that this August committee gives us support, and you have been doing it ardently as well, supporting us ardently as well in the fight against getting the correct budget. But again, we receive invoices from eThekwini, for example, and that's bulk where we owe for just over 400 and some odd million. When we don't pay that invoice and we worry about complying with 2%, they threaten to shut down hospitals, which they do. They shut down key monuments or key public works facilities like the Truro House, the office of the Premier, the office of the MEC in Mayville. We're not safeguarded against those things. What then happens? I got to, as an accounting officer, take drastic measures to prevent a catastrophic event where service delivery is affected and I don't comply with my APP. I could have argued that, and I could have written here that indeed this is actually an achievement, because what I had, I did the best with what it is. But again, we believe that we are all in this, and I want to echo the sentiments of Honorable Malloy that, and MEC reverberated that as well, that sometimes you have to go to a painful episode to get to where you want to go. We're doing that on a daily basis, and we do it, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, without a complaint. Let me then say, Chairperson, that Honorable Chair, that, sorry for saying Chairman, my humble apologies to you, Honorable Chair. We do that within limited resources, but we do it with innovation and we do it with poise. And we will continue to appear before this committee and account, Honorable Chair. The rest of the targets, Honorable Chair, we've overachieved, especially on the one of 3.1, which I want to take you through, that the job opportunities for Q1 were 800. This department, due to some of the policy directives issued by the Honorable MEC, has managed to overachieve on this target, purely because, Chair, we believe in non-conventional applications, and we think out of the box, and we come out with solutions that drive this very same government that all of us are part of. And we continue to build KZN brick by brick, Chairperson. I submit the Q1 performance for yours and the committee members' consideration. I thank you.
Now, thanks very much, Acting Ashoti. The quarter report budgets, who's going to do that for us, Ashoti?
Honorable Chair, I'll be taking all reports for today. I think the newly appointed CFO is 2 days old. He probably didn't sleep last night. But even in the presence of the other CFO, I did it. And I think it's only befitting for an accounting officer to take full accountability of the department. The law says the buck stops with me, and I think that should be the case. Thank you, Honorable Chair. The next presentation is on the financial performance of this department. Again, let me start off with a disclaimer to say that all these figures are, without taking the oath, are fully truthful to the point of it can be verified, it's scientific, it's factual, and we welcome anyone coming to the department to look at our financial system or contacting Treasury Direct for Treasury to provide their report. Now, Chair, there's a misconception with colleagues that I serve with at the department that Public Works is not an income generating department. The policy directive from MEC is that you shall go out and get bang for buck, but also look at ways of which we can maximize on the very good thing that we have, which is assets. We own a lot of property in government. And one of the things that he said to me is that you also got to look at matters whereby we're spending on water and lights and other issues that we should be actually cutting back and redirecting that to property rates and maintenance. I can safely tell you for the end of Q1, Chair, and I can go to slide 2, this department collected 30.8% of its annual revenue budget, which is above the benchmark of 25%. Now, you wonder, this department, which is a welterweight, is fighting in the heavyweight division. But even when we fight in the heavyweight division, we beat other departments which are way beyond these things. So it's important that I highlight to you that if you look at us, we have very little avenues where we can get monies from. But if you look at what we've done, we've brought in magic. We're actually magicians. We do a lot of magic at Public Works. And we've brought into the fore an amount that doesn't come back to Public Works. It goes into the provincial fiscus and it's given to other departments like health and education. The figures are tabulated here, Chair. It's in the bottom. You'll see it as well. And when you get the 30.8, you can see why you get 30.8, because if you take the actual versus what was budgeted for and what was projected, that's how you get that percentage. We then would move on to the other issue of the budget analysis. Now, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, you will know that we have, I'm not going to get to the revenue because that was covered. We know we have bulk of our pressures on property rates. But let me allay certain fears. Public Works budget sits at 2.37 billion. 38% of that is allocated to compensation of employees. 283 million of that, and I said this to the MEC yesterday, and well, he knows it backward and forward, is allocated to goods and services. Almost 67% of the budget is allocated to property rates. Now, there's lots of talk that Public Works as monies and public works is due. Public works doesn't have money. Yes, we're not bankrupt, but we're not a department that has budget like other departments. Our budget lies purely with client departments. You will look at our summary on page 14.2, which we've tabulated quite correctly for you, Chair. And when you look at budgeting, you look at reporting of 25% per quarter, which gives you a total amount of 100% over 4 quarters. Ideally, a department like Public Works should be 24, 25% in the first quarter. We sit at 33.5%. But let me allay your fear again. It comes back down to transfers and subsidies which are due to municipalities. Again, you would ask me, Dr. Vish, but why? Let me answer some of the questions that may come up. We sit with 54 municipalities at a total rates pool of 1.735 billion, and we sit with a bottom line of 1026 what we receive. Again, now the honorable member, she impressed me when she said it's eating soup with a fork. Every time we try, you just don't know who to prioritize. The honorable MEC will get calls from the mayors. I will get calls from the municipal managers. We don't know who to pay, Chair, because there's no science in paying. You know what the science we use is who switches off the lights first. I'm not proud to say that. It's a very sad issue because municipalities' key deliverable is service delivery. Our key deliverable is paying people within 30 days. We can't honor that, but it's all about the issue and thing. Now, let me allay your fears and expand what we've done. We've put out 81 properties. We've been accused that we've targeted the Oppenheimers. That's not the case. I can go through every single bid. By the way, I want to also say to you, Chair, it's on the website. And I want to thank the head of ministry in his presence that it was his idea and the MEC's idea for a policy directive that every single bid that we allocate on fixed assets, especially immovable assets, must be put on the website so you know what the bids closed on. I reported yesterday to the Honorable MEC that 60 of those bidders have overbidded, where we now can see that we're going to get more than what is even the market-related price for that. But obviously that has to comply with 217 and go through the whole evaluation process. So we've gone out there to reduce the rates bill. That projected income from that is 228 million with a rates a rebate of 35 million. It's almost negligible, but you can't sell every property, and quite correctly, honorable members were saying that a public provincial department like Public Works should be safeguarding its assets. We then went a further step, Honorable Chair, to limit this over expenditure or limit contravention of 39.2 of saying to Treasury, let's work together and give us valuers that will target the gender valuation roles of municipalities. Now, municipalities are regulated in terms of the MPRA, the Municipal Property Rates Act. Those are peremptory statutory things. We now attacked those valuation roles. On one municipality in the North Coast, we got a savings of 44.5 million. The next municipality is a metro. I won't say which metro because we're on a live meeting. We're going to tackle them. I can tell you, Chair, they're going to have problems because we're going to reduce the rate bill drastically. Now, we've done everything in our power. Again, I say to you, Chair, and I qualify my statement with science. We do magic for you all, and on a daily basis, we work tirelessly. That's our job, but we need to do what we have to do. But despite us having this negative allocation of 754 million. We don't cry. We cry in the shower. We cry wherever we are. But when we on duty, we make sure we bring what we need to bring to the table. And we own our space on the table. No one calls us to the table, Chair. We own our space. At the moment in the province, we're the best performing department. Let me go further, Chair, in terms of the issue around compensation of employees. And quite correctly, the honourable members will say we're 97.9% for the first quarter due to the delays. We underspent. I'm not proud of that, Chair, but I'm also proud to tell you why we're there. National will set up a wage curve, and they will say that they will buffer that through a specially appropriated budget. They didn't do it for the province of KZN and other provinces. We had to foot that bill. We had to factor that cost into the current compensation of employees. I then said to the chief director that, listen, if we play around with the compensation of employees' budget, and we fill vacancies like the way we want to fill it, we'll be found wanting. Because in between what we're facing is people who are retiring. Now, many years back, the law was that you could accumulate leave. Some of the people who left off, Chair, got 1 point something million, 1.6, 1.5. Even the current incumbents who have resigned will get those payments because you could have had capped leave. Now we're saying no, the law has changed. The DPSA said no, There's no such thing as that. So we had to factor all that thing. Then when we came to a state, we said, okay, 3 months expenditure, you can't. Let's look at 6 months to think, then you get more or less an average and you can aggregate it. Hence, you'll see the 24 million that we're putting out. And it's actually 24 million for all positions, Honorable MEC. I know you meant that, but I want to state that it's not only for artisans. Then the MEC, I sat with him quite correctly. So, and I said, MEC, what's your policy directive towards he doesn't get involved, by the way, in the filling of vacancies. What do you want the department to look at? And he said to me, this is where we want to focus. If we employ artisans, we limit maintenance, which is sound and solid as well. And we did that. On the issue around goods and services as well, you will see we 87.7% for the thing, but you will see as well on maintenance, we actually didn't spend any money. Purely because we had a Department of Labor issuing us a non-compliance on the alley building, which we actually agreed with as well. And we had to take out 27 million that we had budgeted for maintenance of state facilities across the province to put it towards them, meaning public works facilities. The other departments have their own budget. But what we then did, we said, let's go out on an open bid and let's invite people to come there. Now, many people are upset of why Ulundi, why MEC Mayor and Dr. Vish and the team have selected that. Firstly, we've got a non-compliance. The next fine from the OSHA Act is 10 million, and then jail for me and MEC Mayor. Further to that, there's 13 departments, 3 national departments that occupy that building. That's the heart of North Coast. I don't need to motivate that any more further, Chair. With regards to everything else, Chair, this department is fully stable. But you need to note that if property rates is not paid, it has a ripple effect on all other expenditure. Again, Chair, we continue to be the stepchild of allocations. When this department is allocated expended public works grants, we allocated probably the least from everyone in the 9 provinces. We're the best performing when it comes to the amount of jobs created. You'll see as well, Chair, on the expended public works program. We spent 26.4%, which is 1.4%. Now remember, Chair, we're not talking rands and cents, we're talking billions. And I always say to people who are outside that, listen, you may think that it's easy, but come here. In fact, Chair, let me state on record, I said this to MEC, this is one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. You can have 10 PhDs, doesn't prepare you for this. This is an animal and a wild animal. Got to sit on it and you got to hold it down. Again, Chair, I'd submit this budget for your consideration. I want to say to you, Chair, the honourable members are more than welcome through the MEC and through you to sit with the CFO, go through every single thing. There's nothing here we're hiding. There's nothing that we come here and we think. I can even take the oath if you want me to. I submit same for your consideration, Chair. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Acting Ashoti, for the reports. Honourable members, there's our reports in front of us.
I've got 2 more, Chair.
2 more?
Yeah. I'll be quick.
No, it's fine. No, let's go for discussion. Then we'll give us an update on the Nkonje, and then we'll go to discussions. Honourable members. Yes, we will discuss going from 6.1 up to this reports, which is Muloi and Kumalo Gasa, in that order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'd like to welcome the presentations, even the one that was neat. On that one, that on the issue of comprehensive report on vacant posts and requirements for acting post, I would like to know, yes, we have seen the report, but out of that 11, how many that has been advertised? If that can be, because I'm saying that in relation to the fact that if you're having somebody that is acting, it means that there is a budget on that post. And then, and how long is that going to be or those are going to be filled? On the issue of SOT, I'm fine with the report. It's just that you caught me off guard, Chair, by doing that exercise. I was hoping that we are going to get a presentation, but it's okay. On the two reports on the APP, I'm worried that we have not achieved a number of out of 17 we have achieved 11, but with the expenditure it says something else. I'm also would love to be clarified on two figures. There is figure in page 6 which reflects that from April to June, the department in first quarter overspent by 33.5%. I'm talking to that in relation to the report that of the APP, the targets that has not been achieved, but we have overspent. And there is also a figure in page 9, which reflects 42.7. Which one is the a figure that we should actually, as this committee, consider in these two? I've seen them. I may have not read properly, but I've seen these two figures. I've heard that the head of department is saying that they have overspent, but they are unauthorized expenditures that has taken place. You will then enlighten us on that. My worry also is on the grant, the EPWP grant. You are saying that you have from April to June overspent to 26.4, but looking at the figures are saying something different. I see that you have 1,433 of 5,418. I wanted to understand what was the target for the first quarter, because these two numbers are put there. There is no other number which reflect that the reason you have gone to that. Whilst you're responding to that, I would love to hear, because on the same token, you were saying that there has been delay in spending this amount, but we have overspent already on that. Maybe I will be clarified on it. I'm worried with the fact that we're talking about the infrastructure that is not finalized, and Honorable MEC and the SOT have confirmed and assured us that they are paying, but we have only spent on the infrastructure 14.2 instead of 25 or beyond. I may get clarity on that. What is the implication and what are you saying on that? I'm worried with the infrastructure planning of the department. You can't plan when you are already on the year, starting the year, because that shows that you plan on your toes. With regard to, may I stop there, because I can see that I'm going to take everything. And let me allow other members, if they have not touched on the issue, I will come back, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you, Khumalo.
Thanks, Chair. Mine is going to be just 2 or 3 points. Okay. Then, Chair, can I get a clarification on the issue of the acting positions? How procedurally, how many months does a person should act in that procedural normal? That is what is stipulated, what's supposed to be, how many months a person should act and so forth. And the other one that I need to check, Chair, I need a clarity on, is the issue of the APWP. I want to check because previously I know that someone else was in that position. Now there's someone else. I heard that there's a secondment happen in that position. So my understanding when we speak of a secondment,
It's when a company assign an employee or a group of employees to a new temporary position while retaining their normal benefits and salary. So in this case, I want to get information if that's what's happened. How does financial implications have in the department? Because the post now is vacant. That one moved with the package. Now the post is vacant. Obviously, someone is acting there will need to be paid as well. So we'll need a benefit of that post. So I need also to get a clarity on that one. Another one, Chair, when I move, I need to check also HOD that I understand that the EPWP is under your department. In the projects, when locals are employed, they're employed as EPWP. What is it they are doing as the department monitoring that those people who don't just record them that you have achieved this? Because the other thing that we've observed, those EPWP, they are there, but some of them, they take so long to be paid that they're not even getting paid because of the delays and the effects. I heard that when you were explaining the invoice are not captured, but all I know is someone in the department should capture the department. That means it's a fault of the department. So that end up affecting the people who are saying we are giving them opportunities, EPWP, but they are there, they are not getting paid and they are suffering. What is it that we're doing to monitor that those people who are on those projects are also getting paid as the one in the offices and so forth? The last one, I'm not sure, Noma, it's myself who did not get you correct, but I understand that, okay, there are there are buildings, abandoned buildings that are in existence. What plan do you have in terms to make sure that those buildings, we occupy them as or the departments occupy them so that we save some of the funds? Because we do have the buildings that I know of that can be used as offices and something else, but they are not used. Well, what are the plan to have to renovate those buildings and save the funds? We utilize them as the department. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and we welcome all the reports that we received from HOD, in the NHL department. All of you guys, when you are presenting, you are really convincing and you're telling us new meanings of sipping a soup with a fork and now magicians. And they are also busy at the Hollywood. You are busy acting one way. Now, Chairperson, I understand that there was Dudu Fihlela. Dudu Fihlela was also an actor there in that department because we are busy with Hollywood. Now, may we kindly know why was she removed from that position? And if she was qualified, because that's another thing that you are putting people to act in position whether we do not know whether the competency is there or not. So I'll appreciate if we can get that as well. We appreciate that you have new members, new faces in the department, but I don't know if this committee wasn't supposed to be informed, or because I remember when we went, I think we were at Lundi, if I'm not mistaken, there was a new guy there that he introduced himself as a new director or something in the department. I think I can be corrected if I don't put it correct, but there was a new guy that introduced himself there. But I felt that the department, I don't know whether there is no communication with this committee, because I think we should be taken into confidence when at whatever changes that are happening in the department, that we should know of those changes. Then next, thank you that you have also indicated to us that the positions for the HOD and all the people that have applied, they've got master's qualification. I think it's also going to assist us because we're wondering what is the criteria that is used for HOD positions or for people that are eligible to apply for that position of the HODs. One last question, in fact, is a clarity seeking question. Why did we delay in employing the EPWP? If I may also be clarified on that, because it shows here in your report that that was delayed, that process was delayed to employ. If you did, I'm sorry if I did not get that one when you were doing the presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Nzama, and then followed by Honorable Colley and Pram Prakash will be the last.
Thank you, Chair. No, I got one question. HOD. I just want to find out, do you have any tangible plan to reduce the rates payment, this property rate? Because we can see that allocated budget for this revenue is too big. It's killing the department, the rate. Do you have conducive plan? Because I believe it's all this building are killing the department to pay all these big rates. Like you said, eThekwini, a big revenue, you need to pay for the rates. Do you have any tangible plan? I thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I have just got two inquiries, and it's with regards, I think the acting HOD did say that, you know, the MEC has tasked the department to be revenue generating. And we have, from last year, we've heard about disposing of assets and all the rest of it. I think in one of the previous presentations, I don't think it was covered now, there was a mention of the non-functional schools that are going to be disposed of. So I'm just wondering if we can get an idea of where we are with that, as well as the other vacant land parcels. I'm not sure if they have been now included on the website that the MEC mentioned earlier on. I'd just like a little bit of clarity on that one. And then the quarter one performance report, the two findings, 1.2 and 1.3, where we haven't achieved the targets at all. And it just states there that the dates are going to be revised. If we can just have when we can have an idea that will be, so that we can maybe make sure that we're monitoring that when we receive the quarter two reports. I think that was everything. Okay. People have touched on the property rates, so that's fine. And on filling the vacancies. I just wanted to find out with regards to, there was mention of a contractor that had been underperforming. A few contractors, I can't remember the exact figure, that they'd been underperforming, and they haven't been blacklisted. And there have been measures put in place to, I don't know what the word is, to rehabilitate them or whatever. Can we just have an update on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pram Prakash.
Thank you, Chair. Can the department clarify which projects or services will be most affected by the 829 million shortfall and how this will impact service delivery? What concrete timelines has the department set to clear backlogs in maintenance and repairs? And whilst we commend the department on the improved EBWP targets achieved, going forward, how will the department continue to improve the EPWP targets despite funding costs or funding cuts? Is the department exploring partnerships with municipalities or the private sector to close funding gaps? Thank you.
No, thanks, honourable members. You, department, can respond.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'll do a few general responses, but the meat and the bones I'll leave to the experts. But thank you. There's some very excellent questions here and very good remarks. Let me just quickly see. Honourable Malloy, regarding advertisement of the post, of course I did that. Oh no, I've got the wrong one here. That's the, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Too many papers. Because I dealt with it, so I'll give the answer on that question. There are currently 5 posts that are not advertised, but there are some reasons for it. So the Chief Director for Immovable Asset Management is not advertised because that's Dr. Governor's post. So he's acting HOD, so his post, obviously we cannot advertise because he's still within that post. Director Acquisitions have not been advertised. Director of Provincial Information has not been, can't be advertised, that's correct. It's people so these are people that's acting in other positions, so we can't advertise their positions. Also regarding the question about Mr. Dlamini from EPWP, I'll leave that for the department to answer, but it is a valid question to ask because obviously it comes with a cost, but we also have responsibility to assist our sister departments where we can. Let me just quickly get that. Also about the how many months, I'll leave for the department to answer. Regarding empty buildings, I sometimes get a bit confused, Chairperson, if I may be naughty for a second, because I put properties up for sale, then MK say I'm selling them to Oppenheimers, and now they're saying I should sell the property. So I'm a bit unsure what MK wants. No, I'm joking, Chairperson. Empty buildings is a massive problem for us, and prioritizing moving out of leased buildings is our priority. So the EGB, the Esplanade Government Building Project in Durban, which will greatly reduce our dependence on leases, is a priority and a star project for this department that we focus on. We encourage other departments as much as we can, and we identify buildings for them and say, listen, please move in. I can also now report to you, Honourable Member, that we took it to Cabinet and Premier has prioritized this. So it's no longer a request from Public Works, it's now an instruction from Cabinet that all departments must rather, where at all possible, move out of leased buildings and move into buildings that belong to us. And the Premier himself is leading the charge. We are busy very hard trying to work for office space because currently the Premier's office space in Premier is leased, and we are working now to move him into a government building. So Premier is leading the charge there, and is leading by example. So you are 100% right. I agree with you fully on that, and that is something that we are prioritizing as much as we can. The challenge we're facing, Honourable Member, and you touched on it, our buildings unfortunately has been left to go into a bad state. So before we can move a department in, we have to renovate, and that comes from a budget. But we also offset that with our savings that we have now because we don't have to pay leases. Because I'll tell you, Honourable Member, some of these landlords, they charge us rates that I sometimes want to pull my hair out and think, how was this ever agreed to? But we are now fixing that problem. So you've identified the problem and the solution 100%, and I'm in full agreement with you on that, Honourable Member. The same regarding rates. And Dr. Governor did touch quite extensively on our plans to deal with the rates issue, but I will speak on it again because it is very important. So one is that we just owe too many properties. We owe properties that government don't need. And those properties are the ones that we've put up for sale, and there'll be others as well. And this is really just properties that we do not need. And just to run through the process, Chairperson, we don't just put it on the market. We first write to all government departments, and we say to them, do you possibly need this property? If they all say no, then we write to that municipality, and we say, do you need this property? If the municipality says no, only then go and say, okay, what can be done with this property? So it's not just that we decide willy-nilly to put properties on the market and sell them left, right, and centre. So once we've gone through all that process, and Honourable Collie asked about the schools as well. I touch it under here, Honourable Collie. The matter of the vacant schools, the Office of the Premier has now taken over that project, so they now fall under OTP, and OTP is running a project to find uses for those schools with collaboration of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Other matters with the rates, honourable members, that we are working on, as the acting HOD has said, we have now valuers that goes around because some of these municipalities have been cheating us. I'll be absolutely honest with you, Chairperson. We've already found millions of rands of overcharging that these departments are in. And I'll give you a very good example, honourable member. The Metro of eThekwini will charge us exactly the same rates on DHS, a school in Musgrave that is massive and in a very high value suburb. They charge us the same rates for a school in rural Hammersdale that doesn't have refuse removal or water. Now, logic will tell you can't pay the same rates on those two properties, yet they charge us the same rates. So we're now going to them and said, no, we're sorry. You have to be fair. You can't just take money from government blindly. So while we fully take responsibility for our faults of not paying, municipalities must also take responsibility and be fair towards government when they charge us rates. I've also written to COCTA and to, now I forgot the municipal, the councillors, sons. No, I forgot. Anyway, I'm 48. My memory is not as good as it used to be. But asking them to see if, because I was shocked when I learned at the last MINMEC that 6 of the other provinces, schools are not rated. They don't pay rates on schools. Yet our province, we pay rates on schools. And I feel that's something that government needs to take up. And this committee, please, must also take that fight up. So we've written to COCTA saying, at least if we can start with the no-fee schools, schools that don't pay any fees, at least we can ask municipalities, don't charge us rates on those schools, because there's no way those schools can raise money. And then it becomes fully on us, and we just cannot do it. So there's many strategies that we are putting in place to see what can be done regarding rates. And I think those are the 3 most important ones. Regarding revenue generating, there's something else, and this comes to your question, Honourable Member, regarding the properties we own. When the Department of Public Works was formed in 1994, this government it inherited properties from the old Zululand government. It inherited properties from the Natal Provincial Administration, which was the apartheid government in Natal. We inherited properties from the House of Representatives, which was the Indian house that managed government for them. We had it from the House of I forgot the one for coloured people, delegates. Thank you, and all that then came under us. So we own hundreds and hundreds of houses, but renting out a house is not our core function. And unfortunately, we've come to realize that the department hasn't revised the rental we ask on those properties in many years. And you'll be shocked, Honourable Member, that we ask you 900 Rand for a house. But my rates is much more that we have to pay as a department on those houses. So we're reviewing that because that's a loss on rates for us. So we can't charge you 900 Rand for a 4-bedroom house in a Manzam Toti, which is one example. And you only pay us 900 Rand. But my rates alone on that house is 2,200 Rand. Then we're making a loss, and that's not right. So while we understand why sometimes, and I'll give you an example, some of those houses we have to have. So a lot of those houses are Department of Health in rural areas to allow doctors to live in those houses to be. Yes, that's great. But then we have houses in Durban where senior officials of departments stay in and only pay us 900 Rand. And they earn salaries that's very high. Then we have to relook that system. So that's how some of the things we're doing, Honourable Member, to look at the rates bill, because, you know, I also don't know what to answer in May when they phone me and they say they can't pay salaries in Josini. You know, then we have a responsibility, but it's meeting each other halfway in this process. But the meat and bones I'll leave to the officials. Thank you, Chairperson.
I don't know if the MEC applied for HOD's job, but I'm glad that we clarified you need an NQ of 8. So he does have, yeah, he does have a master's. He articulates himself very well. No, thank you, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable Members. I think I'll start off first with Honourable Malloy, who's been on this side as well. So it's good that she understands. Honorable Malloy, let me take you through to table 14.4, where you see that the budget for the department was 5418. Then you see the actual spent, which is 1433 and then 2702. Now, if you take 1433 and you do the percentage, you get the spend, the amount of money that is spent from there is 1354.5%. And what was actually spent was 1433. And that's how you get that amount of 26.4%. So that's spot on. But I don't know if you, I'm receiving it differently, but on your first quarter, you can't have an over expenditure. You can have an over expenditure, inverted commas, of saying an over. On your projection, you have an you went over your projection, but not an over expenditure as such, because your bottom line is still 5418. So you haven't overspent. So you have not transgressed any 39.2 of the PFMA, you haven't. But you are correct. But also I want to highlight, honorable members, that somewhere, the unfortunate thing, and with respect, I'm not Treasury, but I'd like to say, we picked up something in our strat workshop, Honorable Chair, that this 25% and an allocation of 8.33 linear submissions to department, it doesn't work. It can't work. You got to go back to zero budgeting. But I'm not Treasury. I can't dictate to them. But I'm fighting that in court to say this government of provincial unity needs to look at zero budgeting, because if you look at a linear projection and if you look at 25%, public works, in terms of the MPRA, most of the municipalities' rates are due in the second quarter. So if you give me 8.33% of the budget, how am I going to pay them? I can't. Comes back to 1.3 of the APP, why we not achieved, and Honorable Kohli raised that. The next point raised by Honorable Malloy, which I want to apologize to profusely to her to take me through, she asked me a question on the APP on slides 6 and 9. My slides are not numbered. If you can take me through, with respect, Honorable Malloy, you said which figures you need to rely on. And I don't want to respond to you with a wishy-washy response, but I don't know which, because my slides are numbered differently. If you can take me through it, and I will respond, Honorable Chair, or I can take the other question and come back. I don't know, whichever one, if you can take me through, ma'am.
It's in page 6. It says in the first quarter, your overall is 83.5%. That's how much you have spent. And when you go to page 9, it also says that you have overall in first quarter spent 42.7. That is my understanding. It goes under specifically and exclusively appropriated funding as of 30th of June 2025. That is in page, in relation to the one in page 6. That's why I'm asking which one is the, or am I reading it incorrect? It's a matter of clarity.
No, I won't say you're reading it incorrect. You're interpreting it differently, but not incorrect. You are right. But remember, your vote 14, table 14.3 includes transfers and subsidies, payments of it's everything, right? And your other one is only one economic classification. So you're you're reading it right. It's just an interpretation. But I don't blame you, because obviously it's cumbersome. But it's what we get from Treasury. It's what we have to deal with. Then the Honorable Kumalo raised the issue of how many months. I want to use myself, Honorable Chairperson, as an example. I've been acting as an HOD for just over 12 months, getting into the 13th month. What the law says is that you're not allowed to act for a period longer than 12 months and continuous. However, you can act for 10 years, provided there's a break with them. So there's no law that you can, the DPSA guidelines is that provided that there's a break. The break can mean 1 day, it can mean 2 days, it can mean 5 days, it can mean 10 days, but provided there's a break. So that's something that I think this honorable this house should look at and write up to DPSAs to say why should someone act more longer. But I don't want to motivate any further or use myself as an example, but also acting appointments in this instance, like for example, an HOD is obviously due to the fact of a disciplinary matter which goes, but I can tell you very safely that we audited. The Office of the Premier is audited, and if there's any appointments that are beyond that and not having a split, then obviously that would become irregular expenditure. Then the issue around the secondment of the Chief Director for EPWP to COCTA. Secondments are provided for in terms of the DPSA thing and our recruitment and selection policy. When someone is seconded, they're not seconded where the other department will pay their salary. We still pay their salary. Where there's an incumbent in a position, none of the people sitting here, including myself, receive an acting allowance. Because I would now, because from the 20th of September, I would be due for one because the former HOD is no longer an HOD. But where there's a person in a permanent post, you don't get paid. So definitely that would provide insight to you, and you would be able to now understand that there's no cost, there's no extra cost.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to give the clarity on that. So when a position is vacant and someone is acting, they get an acting allowance. Where a position is not vacant, the person is on the discipline, then or seconded, then they don't get an acting allowance. And there's no acting allowance for a person currently in the EPWP post. Sorry for just giving that clarity, actually.
No, thank you. And so therefore there's no double dipping. So we don't think, and also it won't allow us, the system won't allow us. Then the Honorable Kumalo spoke about locals in projects and the extended public works program. The reporting that we're providing here is not on EPWP at projects. We're now tackling that, whereby we now want to say at every infrastructure project that's given, that's part of our resolution of our STAT workshop, we want to make sure that extended public works programs finds expression in that particular contract. The issue around abandoned buildings, I think the Honorable MEC has covered that. And I think one must also understand that we can renovate any building and do anything. We can put any client anywhere. We can take legislature tomorrow and put them somewhere. The problem is we need to have the money. This provincial government doesn't have that at the moment. Therefore, the whole issue around PPP must come into play. But that's a discussion for another day. Then Honorable Gasa raised the issue about Mam Fislela. Mam Fislela is qualified. She is qualified. Mam Fislela, why was she removed? Just like anyone else, you are given an acting post, there's no guarantee that you'll stay there. Any acting position, we all can be rotated. It's purely the prerogative of the accounting officer. And at times, if I have to, I won't answer on why I removed her, but if I have, because it's unprofessional and it's not something that I would do. But if I had to rotate acting appointments, it's purely based on the performance of an individual, nothing else. And it has to be on science as well. But also, again, I need not have a reason. I can just move someone. That's what the section 14 and section 36, 2A and 37 of the PFMA allows me to do. Therefore, I'm appointed in two capacities, one as an HOD, one as an accounting officer. And those are some of the perks of the job as well. Why we delayed EPWP? Let me take the honorable member as well to the submission that was provided. And let me read it out aloud. Table 14.4 gives a breakdown of conditional grant spending and projections against the 25-26 conditional grant allocation. The extended, let me get to why it was thing. I'm reading the wrong page. My humble apology. Yeah, compensation of employees. It was due to the delays in the filling of vacant posts, including the appointment of the EPWP integrated grant for provinces for workers, as well as the implementation of the 25 wage increase for SMS officials. I indicated that. Now, if we continued with that, we would then transgress section 39.2 of the PFMA, which would be an over expenditure or unauthorized expenditure. So that's why we didn't fill it. But little do you see that even though we delayed, there's still achievement of the target because we obviously planned our work and worked our plan. The next issue is that the honorable member, honorable chair, asked that we notify this committee. This committee doesn't get involved in recruitment and selection. If you do that, you'll be stepping in grounds that you don't want to step. So I want to also caution this committee that when there's appointments and thing, you guys, it's not your competence, and I don't think that you'd want to venture in that. But if you want to be informed of who's appointed, we always have a website, and we always publish who's newly.
Chair, can I raise a point of order? We are not in a workshop, Chair. We know our work. We know our job. We're doing an oversight to the department. So there's no limitation that we cannot ask about this. We cannot ask about this. We cannot allow someone to come in and tell us what we must do, what we must not do. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, MEC.
Thank you, Chairperson. No, the member is correct. I think that's not what actually meant, but he can speak for himself. I don't speak for him. But the point is that there's no legal requirement us to tell the committee to just report these are the people we're appointing. That doesn't happen. So we don't inform the committee that these people have been appointed in that positions. It's never happened like that, and it's not a role of the department to inform the committee. Can the committee ask us? Yes, you're 100% correct. The committee can ask us anything. That is within your to-do. So ask a question, 100% correct, but we don't send a report every time we appoint someone to the committee. Thank you.
No, thank you, Honourable Chair. And I was getting to that point of saying that nothing, if you want that, we can provide that information.
I think the message just clarify that we may continue with what's going.
Thank you, Chair. And then I think that's the end of Honourable Gasa's submissions. And Honourable Mzama raised the issue around does the department have tangible plans to address the rates bill? I think the Honourable MEC covered that as well. But I must admit, Honourable Chair, that the issue around the rates bill, as much as what we have tangible plans, but purely, and fortunately, National Treasury has responded to the affirmative. You have to sort out the bottom line allocations. You got to get the allocation as close to what is due. In the absence of that, no matter what we would do, we would be long off the target. And the Honourable Kohli raised a question around the issue. Okay, MEC covered that around non-functional schools. That's been handled by the Office of the Premier. And then she raised the issue around the fact that the Honourable Member raised the issue around the fact of vacant land. And how far is the department? Now, we've put out 81 vacant land parcels with 8 fixed buildings. Those bids have closed. We currently now ask Treasury, which is an independent thing, to do valuations on it. We've completed 20 properties of those valuations, and then we will be going into full evaluation of that bid. The KwaZulu-Natal Land Administration Act, Chair, says that before we dispose of any assets, we must make sure that it's market related. And if it's not, then we need to get permission from Treasury. In terms of the other points that was raised in terms of Q1 and Q2, and what is now the recovery plan so that we achieve the target, so that we can provide this committee with assurance that we will achieve 100% going into Q2 is 30th of December. So we've pegged it at 30th of December. In terms of the filling of vacancies, I think the MEC's covered that. And then you've asked us a very valid point on contractors which are underperforming and how we've managed to get them through. So we've held contractor Mbizos, and what we've said is that those contractors where we've levied penalties, if it's a case of where we have not paid them, we've waived that. Inkongeni is a typical example of that, where we waived that. Similarly as well, the Wash Bay contractor as well said he was not paid. We've waived that.
But I think we're going to get a report on the Inkongeni.
Yeah, but those are the contractor issues, so we've taken care of that. Yeah. Okay, and then the Honourable Ramprakash raised the issue is what concrete plans and timeframes we have to clear maintenance and repairs. Yeah, Honourable Chair, that's a good question. It's a tough question. It's actually a knockout question. The budget for these issues rests with client department, and at the moment we try a thing. The next question is, how will we continue to improve on it, the expanded public work program? Again, I want to commend the Honourable Member because it was like yesterday at our strat workshop. We are now looking at moving away from the conventional type of work of what we give extended public works programs, and you'll see we are signing MOUs now, which we have signed one with the Department of Higher Education, whereby we're partnering now with FET colleges, right? As well, Honourable Chair, what we've done is we're saying that all projects where public works are the implementers of choice, there must be a component of extended public works program. Then also the department, what they've done is they've taken it a further mile. We've trained people on furniture manufacturing. You'll see as well on our website where people have graduated. But we're saying that for extended public works in KZN to be where it needs to be, we need to also challenge national to amend the policy. But the unfortunate part that wasn't best with us. So we're still with that. But yet the MEC at MINMEC is championing that, and MINMEC has responded positively to say that we need to relook at it. Therefore, you see Minister McPherson going through the whole exercise of repositioning EPWP and the allocation of funds. One must also say, Honourable Chair, that the funds don't come to us. It's allocated to municipalities. We champion that, and we are basically the people that oversee that and make sure that that funding is utilized for the extended public works program. Then the honourable member has raised a solid point, which MEC has always raised, the issue around triple Ps. And if you have issues on expenditure management, are you not then looking at alternative service delivery options? We've covered that, Chair. We're currently doing that. We're looking at the Mayville complex, for example, whereby we can enter into a public-private partnership as to how cheaper it is for government to achieve the very same output, but not with income that should be. If there's any other questions, Chair, Honourable Chair, respectfully, I'm able to be taken back to it. But I think those were the questions on the issues around the APP, the filling of vacancies, and the budget performance for the department. Thank you, Chair. I submit for your consideration.
No, thanks very much. We're running out of time now. We have still got 2 reports that we need to get, which is update of Nkonjeni and the update of other place, Ndwet Kawash Bay. But I've seen the hand of what would really now we're trying to what we're calling Gaza.
No, Stalo, kuzoshesha. Into Stalo just thought what maybe in our next meeting, if we can have a comprehensive report of all the dilapidated buildings that are going to be demolished or that were sold out, we'll really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. We will. The department must arrange that report. Honourable members, let us get a report on the update of Nkonjeni, and the last one will be Wash Bay.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Chair. I must tell you the committee a little secret. It's the first time I appear before a portfolio committee for not doing my work the way it should be done. But I don't want to also make an excuse that I inherited this, but it is a fact. But I take full accountability, and I want to first start off by saying that this committee visited the site and the second visit of the site, and noticed that the site was not properly managed, and it was actually catastrophic in terms of what was on a site versus what should be on site. What happened then was that we did receive a letter from the Honourable Chairperson placing myself and the MEC, well, obviously the MEC and subsequently myself on terms in terms of poor performance or poor project management. I then assured the Honourable MEC that as an accounting officer, I will take full accountability. And ever since then, on a weekly basis, I've been visiting the site. My first visit with the contractor, the principal agent, and the consultant revealed that there were issues between the appointments of the contractor and the PSP that was done by those that came before us. Now, what we've done, not that people from Gauteng mustn't get work, but if you are appointed and you're outside the province of KZN, you should have a satellite office in Ulundi, for example, because this project is in Ulundi. And these people don't have that. And therefore, whenever they were called to site, they were not wanting to come. But purely as well, Public Works were catnapping because we should have made sure that we managed the project. So my first meeting with the contractors was to place them on terms and to request a recovery plan, which was submitted on the 18th of August, 2025. The next problem we had is that the contractor was fined an amount of just below 3 million for non-performance. But the contractor's submission was that the PSP that works for the department we appointed was not in sync with what needed to be done. And further to that, Public Works, which is headed by myself and MEC Mayor, did not pay the contractor on time. We then said that the motivation thereof must be scientific as to why that must be waived. Now, the waiving of penalties is a financial matter. If we do not have a proper motivation and it does not get through the different committees, we will have irregular expenditure, and that's obviously a bad audit outcome. The contractor submitted same, and I approved that. The contractor then went into overdrive, and I want to take this house to, before I'm going to come back to the photos that is as of yesterday. That corridor there, all those bulkheads and all those that are there, the doors and everything, were not there when this committee visited there. This is a live photo as of yesterday. Then you would look at the on the right-hand side, the steel structure there with regards to the air conditioning and the laundry and stuff like that. That wasn't there as well. You would then note as well that, again, the next diagram of the Jojo tank and the air cons and all, it wasn't there, it's there. There's many other progress pictures as well, but I wanted to give it as of yesterday to prove to this committee as to the real-time oversight in respect of this project. Now, then we can go to slide 3 with regards to what we've done. You will note that the procurement process for snagging and such, where when we first started off, it was a serious problem, and then we looked at all the delays and when things need to be done. Now, all these dates that we've put here are revised dates that we've approved for the contractor, because we are also part and parcel of why the contractor was delayed. So the contractor has the capability. There were issues. We've sorted out that. The contractor was also instructed by ourselves, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, to add more resources and to ensure that there's quality control. Now, there were issues on the windows and the specifications and what was utilized in terms of this particular site. What we've said then is that we need to claim that now from the consultant. We'll be busy with that. On any construction project, which is not an excuse, Honourable Chair and Honourable Members, there will be deviation, there will be issues. It's called construction. That's why it's what it is. But also, we didn't do what we're supposed to do as public works, and that's why we are accounting. We're here to account to you and this committee as well. I can safely tell you, Chair, you would look at then the issues around the waiving of penalties. I put it in slide 4, and what we've done. I've taken all the plans that we've put in place to prevent an occurrence of that nature. And you'll see the first bullet is the acting HOD has been conducting weekly and ad hoc inspections where it's unannounced. I either choose, generally it's a Thursday, but I either choose a Thursday or Friday. You will see as well there's daily inspections by the 2 individuals, so that there's not one person who's in sync with the contractor, and we prevent that thing of where you're working now for the contractor, you remain impartial. There's weekly inspection and progress reports as well by the regional director. And then obviously the rest of the issues. But Honourable Chair, Public Works struggled with project management for many, many years. And it's not an issue only common to Public Works KZN, Public Works across the province. We've now said through the START workshop that we have that infrastructure delivery must be our core mandate. Everything we do see and feel must be infrastructure. It must be proper project management. I can safely tell you, Chair, we're on track to complete the project. There may be 1 or 2 snags, which we will definitely overcome. But this project is in safe hands as we speak, and it should, this particular oversight visit pushed us into overdrive. I commend you and I commend this House as well. And again, I want to assure you that we're not proud to appear before you here and say we are wrong. It's probably the first time in my career that I did that, but I was definitely wrong. Thank you, Chair.
No, thanks. Let us release the MSc who's got another apartment. Thanks very much, MSc. You got the cabinet, yes. Briefly about Wash Bay.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. And the Wash Bay project, Chair, again, I must account to this committee. It was the worst decision of our life to appoint, I inherited it, it was already done, to appoint one contractor for all those car washes. You couldn't have done it. I mean, it was done, Chair. There's nothing I can do. It's what is there. But I can safely tell you, Chair, if you move to the next 2 pages, that car wash will be done be completed in the next 2 months. The contractor reported to this House that we did not pay him. The invoice was not captured because he had a waiver of penalties. That waiver of penalties, Chair, was approved. Oh, is the presentation not there? Oh, my humble apology. Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, no, it's fine. Oh, sorry, then I'm actually flying blind. I should have realized you don't have it. Okay, but basically in the next 3 weeks, Chairperson, all the problems that you raised at that car wash, and quite correctly as well, has been rectified. The contractor is back on site. Work is progressing well. The same control measures that we put at Incongeni is here. But ultimately, Chair, let me say in the presence of my team, because they will account the next time as well with me. Well, they are accounting today as well, that there's no, it shouldn't be where the HOD should manage projects, but I can safely tell you, Chair, that we dropped the ball, but it will never happen again. Again, Chair, it comes back to why I move people around and why we then appoint new people, is because when we find issues like this, we got to take action. I submit both, Chair, but I can safely say to you that on your next visit, we prepared for you.
No, thanks very much. Honourable members, there's several reports from Ngonje anyways. We're able to show that there's any comment. You noted. Okay. No, thanks very much. We thank you very much. But as we have said yourselves that, and then one of the members, I think it was one of Kumalo. Honestly, you guys need to pick up your socks. Not that this committee must go to those sites so that it can be taken care of. Doesn't give us a good picture. But also this thing of clustering some projects, it's wrong. You can't give one company more than 7 jobs, and then at the same time, and then you want them to perform and so forth. It is uncalled for. So thanks very much, honourable members, and sorry. I also like to invite you to the lunch in downstairs, and when we close this meeting. Honourable members, thanks very much for your time, and I wish you a nice weekend. Although only officials got weekends. We we don't have weekends. So this meeting is closed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
you.